Ooh. Oh, hi. Whoa. That was a good night's sleep. Where do you think I am? I'm in my tent. I'm camping. And I need to clean up. Because I want to go get some food outside. Because when you're camping, you need to get your own food. You need to go get your own water. You need to go get everything. There's a lot of stuff to do when you're camping. So, hi BCA kids. I need to go get some stuff. So, watch me while I clean up my tent before we go. All right, here we are back at our campsite. We have our fire pit right there, ready to go. We have our fuel. We have our tinder in between with a little more tinder if we need it, and our kindling and some fuel once we have our flames ready. And here we go. Hi guys. Well, here we are at the creek. You can see the creek where we come to get water because obviously water's in a creek. I'm going to get some water because as you can see, it has a lot of water from the creek. My question is, can we drink this water? It looks pretty clean, doesn't it? If I can just get some easy flowing water. Does that water look clean to you? Looks clean to me. And my question is, can we really drink it? Can we really drink it? No. We could, but it might make us sick because there's some really little bugs in it called bacteria. We have to do something to this water before we drink it. We have to boil it. And if we boil it, that kills the bacteria. So, we're gonna take this, we're gonna make a fire, and we're gonna boil the water. All right, let's go. So now we have our fire. You see that? Now we put our tinder, we started with our tinder, then we started adding our kindling, which made it bigger. And now we're starting to add our fuel. Harder sticks, which made it get burned a little bit longer. Take longer to catch fire, but they burn longer. And because we're starting to add fuel now and they're starting to catch fire, we can take that water that we got earlier. Remember what we said we had in the water? Bacteria. We're going to place it over our fire. And we're going to let it start to boil. We'll wait for it to boil. We'll let it boil a few minutes, and that'll kill all the bacteria. And then we'll put it in our water jug so that we'll have some water to drink or to make food with. See you in a bit. We got a pretty good fire going. I needed to take the water off just for a little bit to put a little bit more fuel on. This reminds me of the 3 things we need for fire. In science, you may have learned this, or we may not have talked about it, but fire needs 3 things. What 3 things do you think those are? It needs air, heat, and fuel. Air, we have all around us. If you block the air, the fire is going to eat up all the air, and it's going to go out. If I blow on the fire, look what happens. It gets even bigger. It needs fuel. The fuel are the logs and the sticks. And the heat was that first little bit of flame that we got. Now I've taken the water off. I'm gonna let it cool. We're gonna let it cool down for a good while before we put it in our container. Because right now it's very, very hot and it could burn us if it spills on us. So we're gonna let it cool down there while we go over here. We're gonna make sure that we've cleaned up everything in our tent. I'm gonna show you a few more things that I have in my tent. We have some things that I like to make sure that I bring in my tent when I go camping. I bring a nice jacket or a heavy shirt in case it gets cold, because sometimes at nighttime when I go camping, it can get really cold. I make sure and bring a lantern. In fact, on this camping trip, I brought 2 lanterns. Here's another science lesson. You remember that all matter, everything physical, can come in 3 states. Either a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Something that represents a solid would be like these rocks, or the wood, or the grass, or our bones. Things that are liquid are like water, or oils, or things like that. And then things that are gas are like the smoke or this steam coming up. Now I'm going to talk about water. What happens if water freezes? It turns into a solid. What is that solid? Ice. Now if that ice melts, it turns into the liquid, which is the water, like the water we have in there and the water that was in the creek. But if we boil the water, it turns into a gas. If you can see, it looks kind of like smoke, but this smoke that's coming off the water is actually called steam. Steam is what happens if water starts to boil. It turns into a gas called steam. The water turns into steam. And if you can see in the water, you see those little bubbles at the bottom? That's how we know that the water's boiling and it's turning into steam. That's also how we know that the bacteria are being killed, because the bacteria can't survive at this temperature. We're almost there. Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how fun it's been camping with you. We have our meal cooking on the fire. We have our water ready to drink. We have a nice seat by the fire. We have our tent ready to break down in just a little bit. And we're gonna go home in just a little while. All right, here we are, guys, about to go home. I just wanted to let you know before we leave, we don't just leave it like it was. Before we leave, this is how we do it. We clean up where the tent was. It's almost like it was never there before. We clean up over here where the fire was. Wow. It's almost like nothing was ever there before. It's almost like everything is as it was before. We clean up and we make sure that everything is as it was before. I hope you guys have a great time. I love y'all guys, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Bye.